Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, first, th- thank you. You know, Columbus has really improved a lot in the last 32 years since I came, and we can give a little credit to your congressman, my longtime friend. He's done a great job here, and it's just wonderful to be back and to. I've been hanging around here the last 2 or 3 days, and traveling out and going around. I went to the fair, and everybody was in such a good humor. I even had one guy with a MAGA cap ask to take a picture. And it made me feel good. I thought maybe there's hope for this country yet. Part of Kamala Harris's new way forward is that we're going to have more us and fewer them. This us and them thing is eating us alive. And so when the guy asked for a picture, I said, come on up here, man. Who knows, maybe I can infect him before the election day. Meanwhile, we got a race to win. And I want to thank another man, native of Columbus, who was for a while the longest serving member of any state legislature anywhere in America, Calvin Smyrie, who's from Columbus. He's over there. He's been with me. I want to thank Congresswoman Nikema Williams, your state chair, and a great friend of many of my friends. Thank you, Representative Carolyn Hoy. Thank you, Representative Teddy Reese. And thanks to all the local campaign people here. I've had the best time the last 2 days. I got to go to the state fair, which I thought was pretty cool. And I didn't get it. You should be proud of me. I didn't eat one. I got one and gave it to somebody younger with a higher metabolism. Look, we've started early voting tomorrow, right? And if you look at all these recent Georgia elections, they've all been close because we fought hard. I mean, they tried to rig the rules away, so it hurt us. And there have been some new innovative efforts in that regard, trying to rig the rules away from us. But you did well. We won in 2020. And you got Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. And we did it not just because we did well in Atlanta, but because where there was an opportunity anywhere outside Atlanta, we punched above our weight. So that's what this election coming down to. If you want it bad enough, you can win it. And you'll be proud of yourself for the rest of your life. And your children and grandchildren will be grateful. And if you decide you got something better to do for the next few days, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. I know quite a bit about not only being president, but about the current issues and the competing candidates. And the thing that, as I said this once before when I was speaking for Kamala Harris at the Democrat convention, people always talk about Donald Trump lying. They say, you know, he just makes stuff up. Well, he does. You know, he just, and you got a lot of help here. I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene was with him the other day and said, did you see this? She said, when our friends in North Carolina got creamed by that terrible storm Helene, usually hurricanes hit the coast. This one hit inside the west, and it was terribly damaging Asheville, which is pretty much a Democratic city, but it also hurt all these rural counties that were mostly Republican. And they acted like we'd done something unfair. You know, because, I mean, I knew, for example, when I went to the east coast of North Carolina in 2016, I didn't see how Hillary could possibly win because I went to this National Guard armory and all the people who had lost everything were in there, and half of them had their buttons on and were enthusiastic and glad I showed up, but I knew their lives were wrecked and they couldn't get themselves together to go vote, and there wouldn't be an organization to do it. So now they say we have the power.
That's right. We do. We do.
To change the weather. Man, I'll tell you something, folks. I love being in politics. And I love public service. But if I had had the power to change the weather, I'd have been in a different line of work.
There you go.
And, you know, I would have underwritten this entire campaign if that had happened. We're having a good time, but we need to be serious here. They're big stakes. And the thing that bothers me more about the opposition campaign, even than any lies, are all the ayes.
That's right. That's right.
Sun came out today. I did it. Yesterday it rained. If I'd been president, it never would have happened.
Speak it. Speak it.
This is about me. You got to understand there's nobody in the world like me. I can do things nobody can do. I can stop things nobody can stop. And I listened to all this stuff and I thought, if that's true, how come since the end of the Cold War, there have been 50 million new jobs added to the economy by Democrats and 1 by Republicans total? And we are about to finish the 4-year period that will produce the most new jobs of any 4-year period in the history of the United States. Now, so they got a real load to carry, the Republicans. They want to attack Kamala Harris and blame her for anything they managed to keep from happening. Like, they claim she was the border czar. That's not what her jobs are. Her job was to go down to these other countries that were sending us a lot of people and trying to get them to enroll them in a legal process while they were still in the country so they wouldn't be illegally trafficked, show up at our border, have to be cared for on one side of it or another, and then we'd run the risk of having people get in here who weren't properly vetted. That's what she tried to do. And we had some success with that, but those traffickers, they make a lot of money. So for the last 3 years, the Biden-Harris administration has done increasingly tough things trying to control the border. And the illegal crossings have gone down every year for 3 years. Our friends in the other party don't want to talk about it, but that's true.
That's right.
And then President Biden called the Republican senators who seemed genuinely concerned about it, and he said, look, let's make a deal. Only thing you care about is having fewer people come in, right? And they said, yeah, we don't want them. And they said, well, there is a limit to how many people we can efficiently take, so I'll make a deal with you. I'll take your limit if you'll give me enough money to make sure that these families can stay together and no kids are taken away from their children.
That's right.
And
That's right.
if we do serious background checks, so the people who shouldn't get in because they're highly likely to commit crimes don't get in. Let's make that deal. So they made a deal. So Biden then says, you write the first draft of the bill, I trust you. You never hear this. And then Donald Trump hears about it. And he said, oh my God, we can't fix the border. What am I going to do for TV ads? Who am I going to demonize every day? I don't get into politics to solve problems. I get in it to create problems and blame other people for doing it. He learned from his great mentor, Roy Cohn, who helped Senator Joe McCarthy. Deny everything and accuse other people of doing what you're doing. So there it was on a silver platter, a new direction to manage an immigration crisis in a tough time where there's all this upheaval all over the world, where there are border problems all over the world, where millions of people are trying to escape the misery they're in. And other people are saying, well, I want to do what I can and take what I can, but maybe there's a limit to how much we can do. In other words, I don't think Americans are anti-immigration, they're anti-chaos, right? They don't want us to do more than we can, but they recognize, at least most people do, we got the lowest birth rate we've had in well over 100 years. We're not at replacement level, which means we got to have somebody come here if we want to keep growing the economy. Unless one of you is one of these artificial intelligence geniuses and figured out how we can all grow with no work, which I'm not sure would be good for us. I think, it helps us a little to get up and go to work every day. So what you've got is a clear choice. Kamala Harris has offered a credible, compelling economic program. There was a huge number of economists, more or less evenly divided by philosophy, that reviewed these programs. And basically, her program would help more than twice as many Americans as Trump would, because they give too much money, as they always do, to high-income people.
That's right.
Like me. I'm on the bottom end, and Elon Musk is on the top end of high-income people. And I don't need a tax cut, and I sure don't want them to eliminate the Department of Education or cut spending to kids or do all these things that 2025 report said. So, but their program would not help nearly as many people, but it costs more than twice as much money. Because one of the reasons they exist and live is I just can't wait until we get to Congress and the White House again, so we can give billionaires another tax cut. The poor darlings, they need some incentive. They need some incentive to invest. Well, let me tell you something. I've got a few friends who've made $1 billion. They worked for it. They earned it. But the friends that I have, they're proud to pay taxes on what they owe.
That's right.
They don't believe that you should pay less. And they believe they live in a country that should give all the kids a chance to become what they did. Not a millionaire, maybe just a poor millionaire. Maybe a musician, maybe a carpenter, maybe a whatever. They should have a chance. So Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, They want to make it possible for many more jobs to be open for people who've had skills training, who didn't get a college degree but have skills training. Republicans don't give a rip about that.
Right.
They want to make it easier for people to go to college and stay there. They want to make it easier for people to repay their debts because they want us all to have a chance to live the way people who feel successful and fulfilled have lived. And so you just got to decide how bad you want this.
We want it bad.
You got to decide. Mr. Johnson, you look good in your T-shirt. So I think that's all I need to say. I have loved being here. I've relived 30 years. I've thought about everything in the wide world that's happened to me. Here, I love driving all over Columbus and see how beautiful it is now. But you have to realize it is literally possible that the whole election could be decided here.
That's right.
It is possible.
Yes, it is.
There are 7 states where the election is too close to call. We could win them all. And we could lose them all. And it depends on want to. And, you know, the Supreme Court has had a lot of terrible rulings since the last election. And they've been able to make it easier for states that agree with them to make it harder for people to vote, but not impossible.
That's right.
And Georgia has more experience than almost any other state in climbing those barriers
That's right. That's right.
and breaching them. I was looking at that gentleman in the beautiful cap that says Bronze Star. You got too many military veterans in Georgia
That's right.
who have paid too high a price to serve this country to be turned around and discriminated against and access to the polls.
That's right.
You can say no. You can be no. So that's the last thing I want to leave with you. I want you to celebrate on election night. I want you to be happy.
Yes, we will.
And I want you to know that I am here because I believe, based on my personal knowledge of the job and the candidates, that Kamala Harris will be a fine president, will make a huge difference,
Yes, we will.
that the risk that her opponent will actually do what he says. And now he says, oh, who are these 25 people? I don't know them. Well, President Trump, 144 of the writers were in your administration. It's just 144 of them. About that many, over 100, military and administration members from the Trump years have already endorsed Kamala Harris because they saw up close what happened to ordinary people. Don't be fooled. Just bear down. Have a good time.
Yes, we will.
Look for somebody in a MAGA cap to take a picture with. But don't forget, they'll be better off if you win. And you won't be better off if they win. So for the sake of the children, and those of you who have grandchildren, including me, please make sure we turn out. All we got to do is show up. If we show up, we'll win.
That's right.
And it's in your hands. God bless you. Thank you.